Okay. Thank you all very much for waiting. So now it is my distinct pleasure it's my distinct pleasure to introduce to all of you two of the directors of the project which is going to put on this performance. It's called the Resonance Project. Let me welcome Rujna Baichi and Catherine Mazur, please. Just a few words about them because they're all going to speak. Rujna was my predecessor as the director of CITRIS, and in a lot of ways she has really been pushing the cause of telepresence for many, many years when she's been thinking about robotics, teletaction, telepresence, and so on and so forth. In a lot of ways, this is a culmination of many years of love. Let me now introduce Catherine Mazur, who is a professor of dance at Mills College. And she, along with Lisa Wymore, who you saw on that screen back there, is also one of the projects. And the fourth principal, of course, you saw only at the University of Illinois. You saw only virtually at the University of Illinois, is Clara Nashted. Now, to get us kicked off a little bit, we have, I hope everybody has a copy of the program. It's a single sheet of paper which is being passed around in the back. If you don't have a copy of it, there are different, just raise your hand and there are people around who can. More copies of the program to the front, please. Okay, and finally, let me introduce the Dean of the Dean of Humanities and the Arts and Humanities, Janet Broughton, to get us started off. Please, Dean Broughton.
Thank you. Well, it's an absolute delight to be here for this event. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. It's a delight to be here for this event. This is an example of the kind of wide reach of collaboration across a great campus like Berkeley that is possible. And I'm very excited to see what's going to come up. I'm not going to talk for very long because I want the show to begin. But I do just want to say that the Resonance Project is investigating deep humanistic problems, in addition to giving us all a lot to have fun with. Deep humanistic questions that may be very old that they're investigating in a very new way. I come from the philosophy department. We do thought experiments. And I think what we're going to see is a real experiment in a question about what is it to be together? We always say, I can't wait to see you. We must meet face to face. But what does that mean? And I think we're going to start hearing some brand new answers to questions like these. What is it that we can do without? What is it that we cannot do without? What is the meaning, really, of being together or apart? And so I'm thrilled to see these kinds of investigations of these wonderful questions central to humanities, investigations through the arts and through technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you can imagine, I'm quite emotional about this event because this has been a 4-year endeavor that I have been nurturing, and there are many, many people in this audience that I have to thank who trusted me and believed that I will eventually deliver. And I hope you will enjoy, or you have already enjoyed, what you have seen. So when I came here, the original funding came from the founding members of CITRIS, notably Hewlett-Packard, Patrick Scaglia and Rick McGeer from Microsoft, Jim Gray from Infineon Corporation, Uli Ramamaker, and IBM, Paul Jacobs is here, and few others. Furthermore, the administration was very supportive. Dean Newton, and should I mention that we wish him, and he is in our thoughts and prayers, and we wish him quick and good recovery. and former Provost Paul Gray and Vice Provost for Research Bess Burnside have supported us consistently with their friendship and understanding. In addition, the National Science Foundation, Helen Gill, Miriam Heller, Ephraim Glinard, has nurtured this collaborative effort with University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, where the PI, Professor Narsted, and her colleague Peter Baichi from NCSA have worked with us. We wish to thank CITRIS organization, especially Director Shankar Shastri and all his staff, for their friendship and support on every aspect of this performance. And Haystack, that had this idea of having these performances, David Goldberg and Kevin Franklin, who are here. This is an organization that promotes interaction of information technology and humanities and arts. Finally, my warmest thanks to three friends and collaborators, Professors Lisa Weimar from the Theater, Dance, and Performance Studies here at UC Berkeley, Catherine Mesur from Dance and Intermedia Center at Mills College, and Renata Shepard, whom you saw, who was the dancer from UIC. Now, this performance could not happen without the work of Gregory Kurillo, whom you don't see, but is on the fourth floor, and who during this last 6 months revamped the whole lab. In collaboration with Brad Wilson, they made what you see here. The display and the projector that is behind us was donated by Art Yip, and he and Ferenc Kovac have brought the equipment and generously donated the labor and the rental of this equipment. The webcast and the networking has been facilitated by Khosrow Tehranian. Thank you, Khosrow. And finally, my dream is that this technology will be possible to make it cost-effective and reliable so that it can land in every living room. I believe that the communication that this technology facilitates will help us to understand each other better and promote this understanding, peace, and rather than war. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Muser from Mills College, and after that statement, I think you get a sense of what it's been like to work with Ruzana and the lab here as artists. And I particularly want to thank Lisa Wymore for introducing me to the project about 1.5 years ago, and also working with Sheldon Smith and various artists. And what I'm bringing you today is a little bit of insight into this junction between a physical art form of dance and this tele-immersion, 3D, as you can see, technological space. And instead of thinking of it as something in opposition, we're considering this as this amazing dialogue and questioning in some ways what will happen to dance being juxtaposed to this technology, and what will the body be that emerges from technology. And in doing this project, we came across there were 3 concepts that seemed to be reoccurring all the time and questions we wanted to ask. And in bringing these together with the movement choices that were made. And one of these has to do with the way that the body disappears. And I'm sure when you saw the screen, you found there were holes in the body. There are ways that the body's way of fragmenting. What is it about the disappearing body? Does that have something to do with ghosting? Does it have something to do with there always being another other of you in the space? Another thing that arose is this constantly thinking about 3D and being in the chamber over and over again, having a sense of my back being with my front, the back of my head being within my eyes. What were the different ways that I could encounter another body in this 3D space, using things like piercing through a body, touching a body in new ways, touching with my breath another body that maybe isn't there but will be there in a different way. Another thing we thought about is what happens not only when you disappear, but what is your presence in yourself when you're being tele-immersed, and how I take that tele-immersion with me beyond the lab. And that change in consciousness has brought together that question of what is the body, what is corporeality, what is this new materialism that where the body meets technology. And on that note, I also want to thank all the different various organizations that have helped us, but in particular Ed Campion, who's part of the Center for New Music and New Technologies, CINMAT. And also I particularly want to thank the Department of Dance, Theater, Performance Studies and the Townsend Center for supporting this idea that dance studies, we have a working group, and that dance has a very particular voice to add to technology. Thank you.
And now we present to you the main event, which is the reception.
Hello. The experiment proceeds as follows. Is everybody okay with this so far? Okay, so let's just say we have a hypothetical situation where there are two people that are actually in a room together. They're in the same space together. And let's just say that person A sees person B. Sorry. So person A can see person B in the room, but is that really enough? Just being able to just see this body, is that enough information to be absolutely certain that person B is in fact real and not just, say, an apparition, a ghost, a video projection, or something else? So to maybe further demonstrate this concept, if I could have an assistant. Great. So we can see her before us. Clearly, she seems to be here. She seems to be real. I can certainly touch her. She moves when I hit her. She has sort of weight to her. Feel free to just turn next to the person next to you. Just reassure yourself that the person next to you is in fact real, that they're not being streamed from some distant location to the seat near you. Good. Is everybody okay? Let's go on. So what are some of the other sensory bits and pieces of information that we can use to absolutely ascertain without a doubt that this person is real? Like we discussed before, she seems to have weight and volume. She is here. I'm not sure, but I don't think I can necessarily just pass my molecules directly through her. I've often wondered if I really thought hard and long enough and really concentrated, could I just pierce my arm right? I can smell her. I can hear her.
Hello?
I could probably taste her. Okay, moving on then. I just have to wonder, though, all this sensory information, just how much does it really matter? What does it really take to sense that they are present, really present with us? I mean, what if, for example, person A and person B are not actually in the same room? Let's just consider the possibility that person B is in Illinois somewhere, preferably not in the middle of some muddy, barren cornfield, but hopefully ensconced warm in a laboratory surrounded by the loving view of 48 camera clusters and their images being streamed through wires and up to a satellite or however these things work, and down into, spits out the thing in the wall and it comes out. And what factors would we need to consider then to reconstruct person B for person A, so that person A feels that person B is distinctly present? What defines a sense of presence? Is it possible to make a telepresence system that is as effective as being there? This is more of a psychological question than a technical one, but understanding factors that evoke the human perception of presence would allow us to focus our technical resources more effectively. After all, isn't presence really about how the mind perceives reality, rather than what reality is in and itself? Back when we all still wrote letters to each other, wasn't that enough? When I got a postcard in the mail from you, it could feel like you were right there with me. Sometimes the feeling would linger for hours or a whole day. Sometimes a simple phone call would be enough. One minute you're gone 1,000 miles away, and the next moment you're in my ear. My mind's eye paints a picture. What was just a bare outline of you begins to fill in, fleshed out. Somehow my own flesh becomes a little warmer. But I swear, the weirdest thing of all, absolutely the weirdest thing of all, is sometimes I feel your presence most of all by your very absence, by the hole you made when you left. It's not really a cipher at all, but a container. If I close my eyes and imagine you still here with me, is that not enough? structure of presence has been studied for a long time in the interdisciplinary field of human factors research. Although several aspects are still unclear, it is commonly agreed that the basic meaning of presence can be stated as being virtually there. Social presence refers simply to the feeling of being together with other parties, engaged in a communication activity. In fact, internet chats and email, phone calls, or conventional paper letters may give us a strong impression of social presence. In contrast, physical presence concerns the sensation of being physically co-located in a mediated space with communication partners.
more difficult questions that I need to ask you. Jen, if you could be invisible, name 3 things you would do. Next, Heather, if you could shout so loud that the whole world could hear you, what would you say? Next, Faye, if you felt no pain, what experiments would you perform on your own body? Next, Shannon, what do you think happens to you after you die? Next, Laura, what's your favorite breakfast cereal and why? Next, Jen. Jen! Jen! Will you miss me when I'm gone?
Okay, so I have one more experiment I would like to demonstrate. I've been doing some work on exactly how the eyes perceive 3 dimensions. So watch carefully. So let's say we have an image, and we look at that image first with the right eye, and then we look at it with the left eye. And then we just go back and forth, and you have to shut the other eye. And now, if you try that, if you really concentrate, the line will appear as if it is starting to float off the page, as if by magic. If you really, really concentrate, really try as hard as you can, it will start to... All right, it's true. I'm not a scientist.
Thank you.